Hi, and welcome back to the Children's Bible in 365 Stories. We are picking up today with story number 38, The Prisoner and the King. So if you remember, what we've been looking at is the story of Joseph, whose brothers didn't like him, and who threw him in a pit, sold him, and he was taken to Egypt, where as a slave he became the most respected person in his master's household and was running the household. His wife got jealous, made up stories about him, and he was thrown in jail. And while in prison, someone came to him because they were having a dream and didn't understand it, and Joseph explained it to him, and then everything he explained in the dream happened. So now we're picking up with the consequences of him having told that story or interpreted the dreams and done it correctly, and what that did for him. So let's continue. If you want to follow in your Bible, we're in Genesis chapter 41. When the grateful wine steward left prison, and that's the one who Joseph helped with the dream and was set free because of that dream, Joseph asked his help. "Please don't forget me," Joseph pleaded. "Tell the king that I have done no wrong and do not deserve to be in prison," which he didn't. He was falsely accused. So he was in there for the wrong reason. Joseph must have hoped that his troubles would soon be over. But the moment he was back at court, all thought of Joseph went right out of the steward's mind. 2 long years passed. Then one night, the king of Egypt had a dream that none of his wise advisors could explain. These are kind of like wise men in the story of Jesus' birth. They were there to guide the king and give him insight. They couldn't explain the dream. In a flash, the steward remembered his own dream in prison and the wise, kind help that Joseph had given to him. So this means Joseph was sitting in prison for over 2 years now, forgotten by everyone until this moment. "I have been wrong," he told the king. "I had forgotten until this moment the young man who explained my dream to me in prison. He told me that I would be taken back into your service, and his words came true. Joseph could help you too." Orders were given. The servants rushed to the prison to bring out the astonished Joseph. He was hastily washed, shaved, and dressed in clean clothes. Then he was ushered into the king's presence. "I am told that you can explain dreams," the king said to Joseph. "I cannot do so, your majesty," Joseph answered, "but God can." "In my dream," the king went on, "I saw 7 fat cows coming up out of the river to feed on the grass. 7 thin, bony cows stood beside them. The thin cows ate up the fat cows. After that, I had another dream. I saw 7 full, ripe ears of grain beside 7 thin, withered ears. The thin ears ate up the full ones. What can these dreams mean?" Joseph responded to him, and he said, "God is telling you what is going to happen so that you can be prepared. The 2 dreams mean the same thing. There are going to be a period of 7 years of good crops with plenty of food for everyone. But then there's going to be 7 years of bad crops and bad harvests that will follow. And those 7 years of shortages will use up all the plenty of the good years. That is the meaning of your dreams." So what he's saying to him is, God's talking to you, king, but you're missing it. And what God is wanting you to understand is that there's going to be 7 good years for lots of food if you plan ahead and set aside enough. And then there'll be 7 really bad years. And if you've planned ahead, you'll be okay for that whole 14-year period. But you need to plan and do things right, or you're going to be in trouble. And so here ends our story for this time. But we'll learn more about what happened with Joseph and interpreting the dream as God gave him the insight to interpret it. Thanks for joining me, and be safe.